So it gives me the most 2020 foresight pleasure ever to introduce, well, someone that you probably know by now. So this is our third one. The incredible Alison Battersby of Avocado Social.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello. Hello.
I'm still in holiday mode.
Me too. Me too. Happy New Year though, Mark.
Yes, Happy New Year, and yeah, hope it's a good one
Yeah.
for you and the wee man, and well, not talking about Rich, I was talking about your dog,
Yes.
but obviously Rich as well. So yeah, all avocado.
Oh,
So
yeah.
yes.
2020 is going to be a good year.
I've not felt very excited about it.
Really? Oh.
I think I've just not got my story straight yet. So I think I was kind of hoping, I usually go into every year and I'm like, right, this is what I'm going to talk about. And so
Yeah.
this week coming is writing the presentation that's going to set the tone for the year
Okay.
at RMI, so James Haken and Paul Charity's baby. So yeah, so I'm also concerned I'm like a broken record. So
Well, I've
I
got
need some
20
news.
ideas for you.
Good. That's going to help. I'm going to nick those with pride.
20 key trends for 2020.
Yes. So basically, we're together today. It's a triptych, and I'm not sure what the fourth will be next year, but we've done 3 of these already where we've set the tone for the year and said, right, or you have, and I've listened, and just said, right, social media for this year coming, here's the big things that you need to think about. I think one of my biggest concerns, as always, but I think people have really upped their game this year, is that there's still 200 things that they were meant to do that's on the to-do list. But
Yeah.
let's look forward, and maybe by people doing some of this, they can leapfrog the competition and what's going on.
Absolutely. And I always think if you can just do 1 or 2 of them,
Yeah.
then you're going to see some big changes. I think particularly because social media moves so quickly, if you're not at least thinking about the trends,
Yep.
you can very quickly get left behind.
And how, just off the bat, something I've been talking to clients about, of course, there's been Gary Vee stuff. So he's been talking about 80 to 100 posts a day. Where do you sit on that? How are you feeling about that?
I mean, one of the things I love that Gary Vee says is about reusing content.
Yeah.
So I think when people hear that fact, they often think, oh my gosh, how do I create those brand new pieces? But a lot of it is reusing, recycling,
Yep.
which I'm a big fan of. I guess it does totally depend on your personal strategy. So how many platforms you're using. If you're just using Instagram to do 80 posts a day,
It's a lot,
it's
isn't
excessive.
it? Yeah.
Whereas if, like Gary Vee, you're using Twitter, Instagram Stories, IGTV,
TikTok.
you're using LinkedIn, TikTok,
Yeah.
then I can easily see how, 10 pieces of content on each platform could easily be done. But, that's a big team of social media people behind you as well. It's impossible, I think, for one person to be doing that.
It is tricky, and I've been given some advice on budgets and things like that. So I've been trying to sort of push people to go for maybe around 8% of total turnover, and try and put most of that into exploring digital and having a go. So we'll wait and see. But I think a lot of people have taken it a lot more seriously this year.
Yeah.
But there's still boosted posts going on.
Yeah, there's
So-
still a lot of what I would call the kind of amateur stuff
Yeah.
as well.
So just for people listening, because this question comes up all the time, and I say, look, I don't think you should be boosting posts. I don't think it's a good idea. And then people go, why not? And I'm like, well, it's kind of this. Alison says, phone her. So with that, what would you say then?
Yeah.
What's the definitive reasons why it's not a good thing to do?
Boosted posts were created by Facebook to simply ensure that your posts are getting seen by more people.
Yep.
So what they're great for is views. So if you've done a post on Instagram or Facebook and you want as many people to see it as possible, whether they already like you or follow you or not, boosting a post can be a smart way of using some budget. However, the big mistake, which I see time and time again, and I know you do as well, Mark, is people are using boosted posts to boost their key call to action, which is trying to get something like bookings on a website or downloads of an app.
Yeah.
And actually the right way to go there is to use Facebook Ads Manager, which is the sophisticated dashboard which Facebook has created, which allows you to advertise in a really smart way across Facebook and Instagram,
Yes.
and this year WhatsApp as well. So boosted posts can be great if you're just looking for, you know, a few extra views of your video, or maybe some comments or likes on your post. But it's not going to get you new followers.
Yeah.
It's not going to get you website bookings. It's not going to get you app downloads, etc.
And
that's the key thing.
Well, the other thing that I think as well is, it still shocks me, is the amount of money people are putting on this. Like, they're spending more on the lottery every week, right?
Yeah.
And you're
Yeah,
kind of
yeah.
going, oh, put £2 on that, and you're thinking, what?
I'm like, how much did you spend last month? Oh, about, you know, £30 in total.
Yeah.
And I think if you're boosting a post for, you know, £5 to £10, or even less than that, it's almost, there's not much point, because there's so much competition, and there's, you know, well over 500 million other advertisers
doing the same thing. Or spending more.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So the two things that I would really advise against is boosting every post. So I see businesses just, you know, putting £2 behind every post. Not going to happen. You're going to see very low quality engagement from that, or non-engagement at all. And the second thing is, you know, spending too little. So if you're running a competition or something, absolutely put £30, put £50 behind it, and you'll see your competition fly. But, you know, otherwise, if it's just something else that you're looking to push, like Happy Monday, here's some Monday motivation, I'd really question whether that's the right thing to do, putting budget behind that, or whether you should save that budget towards something like an always on ad, which is always driving bookings on your website, for example.
I think there's been a couple of things lately. I'm continually impressed by Coat. I think they do some really good advertising in the carousel, and the photography looks beautiful. And, you know, I'm not Coat's #1 customer by any means and stuff, but when oh, you are? Oh yeah, that's
we
good.
Love Coat.
I it's just when I'm out with the little, she's kind of not at that age yet, or, you know, but
doesn't like the Mulmarinier and
yes,
the red wine,
all that stuff. But basically, I'm just like, it just looks to die for. But they had an odd one last night. The way the carousel was, it looked like it was like a double-ended bottle of wine, the way they had the thing. So it just kind of made you go, oh. So I don't know if it was nice, or I don't know. I just kind of made me go, oh.
I think it's quite cool when you see businesses being quite playful with carousels. So they've got a long image that they've split into 4 or 5 different pictures. It would be so cool, I think, to see a long table of food, of plates,
that's a good
then
idea.
Cut into 4 or 5 different pictures, and you scroll along this long dining table. I think that would be really cool.
We should have kept that
or
for
cocktails.
Ourselves. We shouldn't have told anyone.
A bar full of cocktails.
That's a great idea.
But carousel works so well with food and drink. Because people want to scroll through. You know, if they don't like that picture of the mussels, they might like the steak in the next shot. So I think if you're just using one single image, you're putting all your eggs in one basket and hoping for the best. So give people choice. That kind of leads me quite nicely, Mark, onto our first trend of 2020, which is video.
Yes.
Now, I probably say this every year that video is the key trend.
Yeah, I'm bored of you saying it now.
Yeah, sorry. But I honestly think anything moving, whether that's a quick GIF, a boomerang, whether it's even just using like a sticker on a story that's animated, anything that's moving is going to be much better in terms of the engagement that you'll see than a single static image. According to a Cisco study, by 2022, so just 2 years' time, 82% of all online content is going to be video. And I think I've heard Mark Zuckerberg predict that Facebook will just purely be video in the future. There won't be any kind of single static images at all. Now, this is just something to think about. I know that across some of our clients, we do see single images still work well in the Instagram grid. But I'm definitely starting to see more and more businesses be quite playful with video and ads is a must, I think, as well.
And is there any advice on kit, or, you know, what people should be doing? Because I think that scares the life out of a lot of people, thinking, because we know ourselves, if we're trying to get things filmed, you know, you could be $1,000 a day, you could be $1,400 a day, you could be more than that. If it's a lot of budget you're using up, isn't it?
Yeah.
So,
I mean, there's a couple of things I'd probably think about. Either whether you could use a video agency just for a single day, you know, pay that grand or whatever it is,
Yeah.
and just get as much out of it as possible. You know, if you think about that day photo shoot, you could be
Yeah.
getting, you know, at least sort of 10 GIFs.
Yeah.
You could be getting a longer video that could be chunked up. You could get some static images as well,
Yeah.
perhaps to use across your website. So just really making the most out of that shooting day. Alternative ideas could be to use influencers. So
Yeah.
there's some brilliant food and drink influencers or any type of influencer out there that can not just create amazing images but are amazing at stories, can do brilliant TikTok videos as well. And so I think just thinking about who you could utilise. I'm yet to upgrade my iPhone to the 11, but I'm looking at doing it in the next couple of weeks, ready for 2020. And I know there's some fantastic photography features that will allow you to just create beautiful video. So I think it is getting easier, and there's just tons of help online as well. So if you are looking at doing anything yourself, have a quick Google on YouTube, and have a quick Google on YouTube.
Yeah, well, same company, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Just
So,
search.
an Inception kind of thing. But we've got there's a couple of people on Medium that actually say, you know, best vlogging kit under 500 quid, and also I think I wouldn't be ashamed of doing a lot of second-hand purchases and refurbs and things, you know,
eBay,
things like that.
Definitely.
You know,
I mean, I think at the very minimum, getting a good tripod and getting a good mic are probably the two things that you need. The rest of it, you can get apps to really enhance and edit some of the things you're doing.
Well, there's a gimbal you can get as well, which is like you shake the camera and it doesn't move kind of thing. And I've found those to be quite interesting. So if you have one static and then you have someone, it's a little bit weird if you're in the middle of it, but you know, someone going round you as well, you know, it just seems to be quite a happy marriage. But it's the money's really in the editing. And there's something I was thinking about for this podcast, and it's, you know, sort of on message for what we're talking about, which was, I'm torn, which is, do I do more or do I spend budget and time just editing the 100 episodes that you've got, and then you can get that out further? So at the moment I'm slightly torn about the two things.
It's tricky,
you know,
isn't it? It is tricky to kind of think about your strategy of how you're going to use that content, but I think as long as you've got something fresh, you know, every couple of weeks, I'd say, and then really utilising that over the next 2 weeks, and then get something fresh again. But yeah, I think kind of moving on into our second trend around video, stories. You know, stories were a huge trend of 2019. That it was predicted that more people would be looking at stories than look at the feed. That has happened. Now it hasn't happened for everyone. I don't know whether you've looked at your stats recently, Mark. I looked at mine yesterday. I'm still getting more views of my content in my Instagram grid than I do for the stories. But I can see that producing a story every day is keeping me relevant, keeping me front of mind, making people think about me. And also I can see that it is driving people back to my grid as well. So I think if you're not creating a story every day, you're really missing a trick in Instagram.
It sort of gives me a bit of an itch when I see my circle's not lit up and I've got the plus sign, and I'm like, oh crap, I need to get something up pretty sharpish. So
I completely agree with you. I think there is that kind of FOMO as well with stories, where I don't know if you get this, but if you haven't looked at stories for a day, you're sort of like, oh no, I missed 24 hours of content. You get that FOMO, and that seems to be what's working very well with Instagram. I mean, they're so clever, they've created stories so that people keep logging back in, and over half of Instagram's users log in every day. I think that will just increase. But I think as kind of stories evolve into more of a professional medium as opposed to this kind of off-the-cuff quick selfie, we're going to see brands really upping their game with the overall aesthetic of their stories. Maybe they're going to have some of their own personalised stickers, which we've seen a lot of with Giphy. And also having a really good idea about what goes into stories and what goes on the grid, and just keeping that strategy really clear. I think this year we'll probably, I mean, Instagram have been hinting at it for a while now, but we'll probably see some more interactive stickers.
Yeah.
I think we'll see the book button because we've got shop
Yeah.
as a sticker. I think we'll see book now. I think some other activities will appear as stickers as well.
I think I'd like to see just that number of followers come down a bit to be able to swipe up as well, because a lot of the smaller businesses are struggling to get up to the 10,000.
Yeah.
And it would just make it helpful for the user because they probably do want to book in some way or check them out a bit more without having to come out and then go into the bio and then do the
It's
thing,
a bit
you know.
annoying, isn't it?
Yeah.
I don't know if they'll change that, but I think what we'll see, and already actually, if you search when you're adding a sticker, there are a lot of link in bio or head back to bio for the link stickers, which I think probably we'll see a few brands kind of create their own and own those.
Yeah. Well, I think just across the board, brands aren't doing enough in the Giphy stickers area.
I know, right?
It's crazy.
It's still free.
Yeah. And I think, you know, Gabby did it for me when we had the old podcast, and it was like $17 or something to upload a batch of them, or I can't remember. There was some tiny cost, I think, to get onto Giphy. I think.
I haven't.
But it might have changed.
Paid anything, but it would just be the cost of creating. The
Maybe that's what it was. So yeah. So in terms of that, it's just like you search Pret, you search Wagamama, you search Yo Sushi, you search, and it's still in its infancy. And if it's almost, I'm feeling like it's almost like early Google AdWords, where if you could own the word sushi, or you know, if you owned the sushi term back then, if you could own the stickers when you put in pizza, and Pizza Pilgrims comes up, or Pizza Punks, or, you know, it just seems a bit crazy to me.
There's
that
a
people
big
aren't.
opportunity
It's
there.
not a lot of work.
I mean, I'm just having a quick look now at my Giphy, but it's incredible how many views you get. I think you said last year at a talk we did, Mark, that the Giphy website alone gets 400 million.
I think it's up to 500 now.
I mean, last time I looked, I had about like 7 million views of one sticker, which is my logo, which is in Giphy, which is just quite a fun fact, really. It's just quite fun.
It's massive.
I mean, I suppose the thing putting people off, maybe, I'm not sure, is the fact that you can't really measure how many people have used your sticker. However, you could perhaps think about running a competition where you ask people to use your sticker and tag you in. Therefore, you could then see how many uses your stickers do get.
The other thing you could do is just like a call out to the audience and say, you know, create stickers for us and we'll give you the credit, and, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
Could be really creative ways of doing it. Yeah. I'm sure it went up to 500 million daily users. I wouldn't be surprised. It was 300 a couple of years ago. Oh no, I was saying 300 million daily users, and that's as of mid-May. So yeah, it's probably up to about 400 by now, but that was crazy statistics,
Yeah, I think it's just such an opportunity at the moment. I mean, according to Instagram, 1 in 3 people using the app have said they've become more interested in a brand or a product after seeing it in Instagram stories. So stories are definitely working for discovery, brand discovery, and I mean, definitely in the food and drink industry, I'm discovering so many restaurants, pop-ups, markets, because some people I'm following have done some incredible videos or shots in their stories.
But just looking at this, you know, I've just typed in Greggs on stickers, right? And it's got 1, 2...
Is there a sausage roll?
No.
Is there a steak bake?
No. There's basically one logo that's shown 3-4 times.
Okay.
That's it.
Interesting.
Yeah, I'm sure Pret's were American ones, and they looked very. So it's Pret USA, and there was about 13 gifts. Sorry, uploaded.
Okay.
It was mainly for Pride and Christmas, but again, it's like it wouldn't take long to get 100 up there.
It wouldn't. I was really impressed actually. Last summer we went to the big festival in Cotswolds, Alex James's farm.
Yep.
And I was there doing some stories, and I thought, I wonder if they've got any stickers. And I typed it in, and there were like 5 really cool stickers that had been developed for people who were there at the festival. And I thought, that's clever.
To be able to mark
that's
it
really
up.
clever.
Yeah, and then Wagamama have got 15 but only 1, 2, 3, 4 that I've got the brand on.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah,
Okay.
crazy. So there's a lot of work to do there.
A lot of work.
Yep.
So third trend, and this is a question for you, Mark.
Oh, yeah.
Do you use IGTV much at all?
Watching, yes. Making content, not really.
Yeah, I think that's very common.
Yeah.
So Instagram.
And do you know, just an aside, the one that I love and adore is On the Tools.
Oh yeah.
It is the best. It
It's
keeps you hooked enough
so
that you want to
cool.
go through to IGTV.
We saw the founder of On the Tools speak at a conference, actually January
Yeah.
2019. What a nice guy, really, really interesting guy, and amazing that they've built such a cool media platform.
It's like Lad Bible for sort of, I guess,
Builders.
builders and labourers, yeah.
Yeah.
But I love watching it, and it's just the funniest ones is when, for example, they've set tasks for the apprentices or whatever,
Yeah.
and and it just all goes wrong, obviously.
Oh yeah, it's,
But,
it's definitely a good one to follow.
But yeah,
Giggle.
no stickers for them.
I probably on IGTV follow quite a lot of I'd say how-to videos. How to cook this recipe, how to.
Oh, that's interesting. Rather than YouTube.
Yeah.
Ah.
Just because I'm in Instagram so much anyway.
Yeah.
More so than YouTube, it's just easier. And also follow, a lot of chefs, a lot of recipe bloggers, food bloggers, and then also, fashion and beauty. There's a lot in that world of how to apply this look, makeup wise. So I think that's quite an interesting edge. ITV are beginning to kind of gain some momentum around.
Yeah.
But I was at a Facebook conference last January, and they were sort of saying 2019 is going to be the big year for IGTV, and it just hasn't happened.
Yeah.
Mainstream media and I'd say the general public haven't become that excited about
I think
IGTV.
it always takes longer than you think, a lot of these things, and also it feels like there needs to be that nudge sort of moment or tipping point sort of moment, because with AR, for example, it was the Pokemon Go or whatever, and I mean it's kind of disappeared again slightly, but it just feels like en masse you need the the ITV crowd to understand,
Something exclusive,
Love Island will make it happen, or do you know what I mean?
Or like the first exclusive interview with Caroline Flack.
Yeah.
But
Let's
I think
not go there.
Snapchat saw big success last year with their Discover shows. So they had some really interesting, unique content that was only hosted on Snapchat. And IGTV needs to do the same. I mean, last year they did do some partnerships with Adidas, Airbnb, when they were getting these huge brands to put some content on IGTV. But I think this year, I really do think they're going to be putting a lot into developing IGTV and getting more people using it. They'll be promoting it more throughout Facebook as well, I'd imagine. But it's worth keeping tabs on IGTV. So what I'd probably suggest is if you've got something in your marketing diary, in your calendar coming up, big competition, a big launch, a big interview, a new hire, something exciting, is there potential to film an IGTV?
Well, also if you think about the Greg's Steak, the vegan launch that they've just done, it's all mainly, sort of above the line inverted commas, and it's a push campaign, and in a lot of ways. But the interesting stuff is actually watching all the people turning up at 10 p.m. at night. How did that happen? What was the journey of it? What were the first meetings? What was the genesis of the whole thing? And I think people miss that step quite often. And it's a bit like, well, what if it doesn't happen, or what if we get it wrong? But they could even have done a series of how they couldn't get the vegan steak bake to taste as good as it should. So that's another message, or not they've launched it, but if it went wrong, then some of the drama in television is when things go wrong. So
it's that behind the scenes kind of, how did they do this inside the factory type look, and there's been tons of that on mainstream media TV over Christmas.
Greg Wallace.
We watched the Cadbury's one. That was really
was it good?
Yeah. Really interesting to see how they were launching reduced sugar dairy milk.
Okay.
And taste tests, and could people tell the difference, and yeah, it was really interesting.
It's so hard because you almost do need extra hours in the day, or a whole other team that does it, or you just need to be thinking that way. You know,
Yeah.
if I'm thinking about some of my clients right now, you know, if they're opening a new bar in Manchester or London or whatever, you know, what were the initial meetings? What were them seeing the site and going, that's the site for us? Or what was the first meetings with the landlord? Or
Yeah.
maybe you won't be able to film it all, but you know, you might be able to do that. So it is just having that foresight.
Having that foresight
Yeah.
and documenting everything along the
Yeah,
way.
which is hard.
It would be really interesting though, going back to your Greg's comment, if they had sort of, and maybe they have, maybe we're yet to see it, but
Maybe.
if they had developed that, how did we get the vegan taste of the steak bake, or how
Yeah.
did we nail the vegan sausage roll to make it so
Yeah.
universally adored? I
Was-
think
yeah.
that kind of thing, I would definitely watch that on IGTV.
And I think I'm curious about the choice to go black and white for the logo.
Yeah.
I thought that was kind of interesting.
Yeah, very interesting.
Don't know if they're trying to Coke Zero it up in some way and make it more appealing to both sexes or something, but I would have probably went green.
I'm not sure. I need to think about that one more.
But it's a good campaign, and they were funny with, you know, as usual, the comments were excellent.
Yeah.
You know, I think somebody said that their sons, you know, took a bit of a funny turn hearing about it, and they were kept checking in, going, "How's your son doing today?" and all that. You know, they were really good with it. You know, I thought, yeah, good one. Yeah, did really well.
Love it.
So IGTV, yeah, we need to do that. And I think also we saw some magazine type shows early on from Marks and Spencers and things like that.
Yeah.
You know, and having a point of view. I mean, I always said it to, you know, some of the clients we had, you know, a few years ago, and it was like, maybe you should do like the lunch test, you know, against your food, or
Yeah.
you know, you should be reviewing things in the market, and then you just take the higher ground, don't you, by being almost the football pundits of the food world or something like
yeah,
that.
exactly.
You know,
That could be really interesting if you could have an employee or a chef or whoever actually becoming the presenter almost.
Yeah.
I was actually training last year. They were in one of my training sessions, Sony Music, and they said that, you know, by chance they had taken the decision to put a video up on YouTube and IGTV, and that the IGTV one had actually performed better. So although I don't think that's happening with everybody, I think there will be some, you know, because it's less competitive
yeah.
on IGTV at the moment than YouTube. I think there will be a few anomalies where you do suddenly see a lot of views, and they said that actually because the video had gained a lot of views quite quickly, it was then on that sort of home page of IGTV, which then
Yeah,
accelerated
then
it
gets
even
more.
further.
Yeah. That's
So,
cool.
yeah, worth a go.
Nice.
That leads us into our fourth trend,
Yep.
which is TikTok. So, are you TikToking, Mark?
I'm watching
Yeah.
and learning.
Consuming.
Yeah. I've just not got my head completely wrapped around it yet, and I'm just figuring out what brands might be able to do with it, and you know, and how it's working. There's a few people that I know that are starting to kind of delve into it. Yeah, I'm annoyed at myself because I don't think I've invested as much time as I should have in it.
I think you've still
but,
got
you know,
time, definitely.
yeah.
I mean, it's the young teens, it's the 13 to 18 year olds that are using it the most. They're using it way more than Facebook.
Yeah.
It's the third most popular platform amongst teenagers behind Snapchat and Instagram. So it's still not number one yet.
Yeah.
But of course, it's getting a lot of media attention.
Yeah.
For those of you that don't know what it is, it's all about sharing short videos covering a wide range of categories, from lip syncing to kind of your favourite music tracks to kind of comedy skits, which I love,
Yeah.
dance routines or viral challenges. So a
Oh,
lot of
yeah.
these challenges kind of really make way on TikTok, and someone told me that's actually where a lot of the big YouTube influencers get their inspiration from,
Okay.
which is quite interesting.
Well, I seen one of them which was McDonald's doing the, or so people were racing against each other to do the touchscreen,
Oh, really?
and
That's
whoever
quite
got
clever.
their order out first won.
Oh, I love that.
sort of thing, so
Do you
that-
think, did McDonald's start that, or was that just
I don't
completely
know.
organic?
I don't know. I felt organic, but who knows?
Who knows?
But it was very, very clever.
But yeah, I think things like the Bottle Top Challenge
Yep.
last year. And do you remember 2 years ago now, was it Deli Ali who did the kind of
Yeah, the funny thing.
Someone did tell me that started on TikTok. I'm not sure if that's true.
Okay.
But just a few of these little.
And there was a kombucha
trends.
lady that made the funny face.
Oh yes.
So that
Funny
went
face
quite
after
well.
Kombucha.
Yeah.
I think we're just going to see more and more of these viral challenges and trends.
So I think that's an interesting one for brands, is just who's the right person to do it, what could you possibly do. But I think there's a lot of fun to be had with, a lot of the Asian brands as well, with, challenges. So at Yo Sushi, for example, when we were there's lots of challenges on, how many plates you could have in an all-you-can-eat thing.
Nice.
There's, obviously lots of chopstick challenges. There was things about, so many people did this, even back when I was there, and they put their camera or their phone on the belt.
Oh yeah.
And then it filmed the whole restaurant,
Oh,
which
that's
was
awesome.
so cool.
Oh,
and
I love that.
There's a few I've went like that, not in Yo Sushi's and in other places, but there was some YouTube clips, they're still there, where people did that, and I always thought there's something quite fun.
Yeah.
And a lot of TikTok's stuff seems to be like instant changes.
Yeah.
So changes of clothes, but people are sat in the same way, or things like that. So I think, again, brands should probably be going out and asking TikTok users to come up with something.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we
That's
need
a
to,
good point. I think you don't have to be doing this yourself.
Yeah.
You could enlist some people who are already on TikTok who are
and your employees, because they're the right age, some of them.
exactly who's already got a ton of followers. I mean, you know a few influencers on TikTok, don't you?
Yeah, so I mean, hopefully we're going to see, Emily a lot more, and the guys at Go Agency are all over this stuff. They're doing some really cool things, and so I think it's our job this year to just get a little bit closer to it and can understand. I think, Emily's done a lot of stuff with Twisted, and the growth of Jungle Creations on TikTok as well. So I think she's got 1 million something.
Nice.
That's
crazy,
she's
isn't
done
it?
pretty well. So yeah.
Yeah. Well, also that's happening on TikTok this year is ads are launching. So you'll be able to buy CPM ads, so cost per impression ads, sort of on that homepage of TikTok, where you can buy the top banner.
Yeah.
It's a little bit like YouTube. Also, I think in terms of sort of other ads they're going to launch, there will be perhaps some more in the kind of news feeds as you're scrolling through. Although I'd imagine that they're quite mindful of launching anything that interrupts the kind of overall experience. But at the moment, you can actually just contact TikTok directly. They've got a UK office, which is growing and growing. They just hired someone from YouTube as their MD. So there's going to be a lot more self-serve ads available on the platform. I just made a quick note of some brands that are already advertising on TikTok, which I found quite surprising, some of them. So Adidas, which is, I'd expect that.
Yeah.
But then Ralph Lauren, I was quite surprised.
Interesting. I guess they've got to get a new audience though, because it's
Yeah.
old guys like me that like polo stuff. So I'm going to be dead soon.
They want a
Do you know
new
what I saw? Just an aside, I saw a thing yesterday. I think Gabby put it up on Twitter, and it was someone born in 2020.
Yeah.
When they're 80, they'll be living in the year 3000.
What? Oh my gosh.
That's not right.
If you're born this year, and then you're 80, oh no, it's got 21,000, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, so it was wrong. I wonder if that was a gag or something.
How
Yeah,
many retweets did that get?
quite a lot. People was like all the mind blown emojis. Thanks for sorting that out. Yeah, year 2100. We need to tell Gabby.
Yeah, we need to tell Gabby.
Still
Yeah.
way in the future.
Oh man,
Wow,
you can tell I'm not
that's
back at work yet.
Yeah. We're still.
I've got a bunch of accounting to do later as well, so yeah, that's going to go well.
Only a couple of days into January.
I was thinking about the Busted song. Was it Year
They played
3000?
that on
Yeah.
Radio 2 this morning.
That's a good song.
As we were driving here.
I like
Yeah.
Busted. Nice. Okay.
Okay.
So what, we're on 5?
So we're on number 5.
Oh Christ, this is going to be a 3-parter, I think.
I mean, we've started with the most important trends, so these are key ones to talk about.
And we'll try and do either a summary at the end of this, or we'll put it in the
in the
notes to say,
notes.
yeah.
The rise of ambassador influencers.
Okay.
So I think
Externally?
yes.
Okay.
So the Well, I think that's an interesting point. I think you could look internally as well, but what I mean here is we're going to see a lot more ambassador influencers external to your company, so not your employees. And what I mean here is influencer marketing has had a bit of a backlash over the last couple of years. You know, a lot of people are saying, oh, it's inauthentic, don't really believe an influencer actually buys that product, or we see too many ads. And so, interestingly, it can still work very, very well. I do think the main mistake or common kind of way people use it is you pay an influencer to do one post, and then that's the end. You never talk to them again. And that is particularly apparent in travel and food and beverage. Yeah. And I think that's going to change. You know, a lot of the clever brands now are thinking, well, who can we enlist to become our ambassador for the year or for the next 6 months or for the whole campaign?
Yeah.
That's already happening across beauty, it's happening in fashion. You know, L'Oreal put a lot of budget towards having 10 ambassadors, which sort of promoted different products and went to different events throughout the year.
Yeah.
If you look at brands like Adidas, Lululemon, they have ambassadors that kind of go out wearing their clothing all the time.
Sort of army of them almost.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think Gymshark did a lot of that
Amazing
last year.
success story.
Exactly. So this sort of approach where you find some true fans of your brand and you reward them, you give them, you know, whether it's free pizza for the year or they can come into Coat and have a meal whenever they want to, but the deal is, you know, they have to talk about you at least once a month. Now that kind of thing, they would need to be honest that it's an ad, because there's some sort of contract there. But I still think that it's going to work because audiences are looking for influencers to become more authentic.
Well, just fessing up, isn't it? And I think there's a couple. Do you know what I mean? They're just like, you know. But I think there's a couple of things. It almost harks back to Victoria Beckham with Range Rover and the Evoque, who she was the creative director or whatever on top of that. And then there was Lady Gaga. Was she like Polaroid? I want to say.
Oh, I'm not sure about that one.
It was a way back. But it's almost that. Sort of thought
Cheryl
where
Cole, L'Oreal.
yeah, all that, yeah, so just, you know, have them. And it was almost, I think will.i.am was a ambassador for almost a Polaroid type thing as well. So I think it's just legitimising that and being sort of proud of it and going, these are our, you know, angels, ambassadors, guardians, whatever you want to call them. Yeah.
And they don't have to be, you know, big celebrities. In fact, we've definitely seen a huge increase in engagement amongst micro influencers, so people with like 1,000 to 10,000 followers who get higher engagement rates. I mean, typically they'll see kind of 6 to 8% engagement, whereas brands typically see around 3 to 5%. So higher engagement for people with a lower amount of followers, but their fans are really big fans of them. And that's kind of trend number 6, that these micro influencers are going to dominate social media.
But I think it's smarter because on the roulette wheel table, you know, you're placing more bets that's giving you more reach and, you know, more grapple hooks in the mountain, whichever analogy you want to use. I think it is just incredible that brands still do it, where they have, if they have an ambassador, which some of your whiskey brands do and things like that, they have one.
Yeah.
And that one's very vocal, and it's like, well, why not have 20?
Exactly.
You know, and you have one with Ralph Lauren, you maybe have someone that speaks to me, but you maybe are going for the more lairier clothes, because Ralph Lauren's got the one with the massive polo guy on the chest, and that's maybe for younger people, or there's the distressed stuff, or there's an Off-White collaboration, or, you know, so you'd just be placing your bets round about, wouldn't you?
Yeah, that's a really good point, actually. You could definitely go for sort of different style. I mean, we're doing a lot of work with pubs at the moment, and pub chains, and, you know, we were sort of thinking about how might they use influencers. Well, you've got your kind of local influencers. Then you've got sort of mummy influencers. So why not do, you know, coffee mornings, meetups, that sort of thing. Then you've got your real expert kind of craft beer.
Camera guys.
Yeah, the camera guys, exactly. So there's all these different strands. You might have a music night, so you might go for some local kind of music scene type people. So
But there's smart lateral moves. I know we're on this point for a long time, but I think it's important. There's lateral moves. So you think about the camera guys. What's the joke? The joke is usually they're old science fiction nerds with big beards that listen to Deep Purple.
my dad's the cameraman.
Right.
yeah.
So I don't know your dad, but yeah, no diss. All right. But basically, it's just a bit like, right, if you laterally think about that and you go, oh, actually, if they're really into prog rock and they're really into, this is being generalisation stuff, and then they've got massive long beards and they're into science fiction, there's all these lateral moves. So if you've then got the drummer of Deep Purple being a thing of your place, and it's smart, to do these kind of things, I think, and just do it that way.
Yeah, definitely. But as we say, marketers in 2020 will not just be collaborating with one or two influencers or paying for one post and that's that. It's going to be about how to use multiple micro influencers and use them ongoing.
Yep.
Because if someone's really enjoyed that new menu launch night you did, invite them back to the next one and keep using them. Because I think when I follow influencers, the more times I see an influencer talk about one brand, then I'm sort of like, oh wow, he or she really likes that brand. They must be decent.
Yeah.
It was interesting actually, this a bit off topic, but of an influencer I follow who's sort of like a life and home influencer, sort of interiors and recipes, talked about the White Company pretty much the 6 weeks leading up to Christmas. There I was on Boxing Day checking out the White Company, looking at all of the Christmas decorations in the sale, thinking I want my house to look like hers. So it absolutely works. It really does.
It costs you a fortune.
yeah, exactly. Number 7 then. Number 7 of 20. More regulation. So we're going to see, I mean, there's been a lot of issues with social media that have come to light in recent years. Data privacy, Cambridge Analytica, security, cyberbullying. So Instagram's done a lot over the last year in terms of raising awareness of bullying on the platform, but also introducing things like stickers, create, don't hate, that kind of thing. I think 2020 will see the main social networks and the regulatory bodies like the Advertising Standards Authority, which is the ASA, tighten up their rules. So we're going to see more protection policies in place, and also I think we're going to see more sort of warnings within the platforms. So I think just a couple of weeks ago Instagram announced it's going to warn users if their captions could be seen as offensive, which is quite interesting. I know that there's a lot more AI being used amongst Facebook and Instagram for kind of throwing up any warnings that somebody is maybe having a difficult time, or if there's any content that could be seen as offensive. What does this mean for marketers? I think probably from my experience with Facebook and Instagram, there will sometimes be content that isn't allowed on the platform, which you think is fine, and you can't see why it's being disallowed. But for some reason, the AI bots have flagged it up. That happens quite a lot with ads. So there's a few things they will not let you advertise and are quite funny around, gambling, pictures of nudity, pictures of overly sexual content. And we'll see, I think, some decisions this year which will probably make the headlines, I can imagine. I
mean, I think it'll probably might even be high calorie stuff they might start looking at. They might start looking at drinking responsibly things and all these kind of things. So it
because
could
in
be
the
interesting.
UK they're I don't know if they have banned sort of adverts promoting junk food before the watershed, but they're definitely talking about it.
Like in real life.
On TV,
but I don't know how far that's happened.
I don't know
think it's happened yet.
But more regulation, and I think if you are using influencers, as we spoke about, in sort of trends.
And then how do you class junk food as well? Because there's all these newspaper reports that you see that some salads that you get are more calories than a Big Mac, and so it's a little bit.
There's a lot
it's a tricky
to think
one.
About,
I think so.
A lot to think about. But that kind of leads me on to another trend which we saw happen, which everybody kind of went a bit nuts over, I think, is the removal of likes from Instagram.
Yep.
What do you think about it, Mark?
It's a tough one. I mean, I think there's the gamification of, which is part of the reason that you're in it. I think you want that reward to know something's done well or it hasn't. That's the instant gratification. But longer term, I think it's like, I don't know, the smoking ban or the, whatever. It's just like, it'll just become normal life. If they take it away eventually, it's that whole normalization thing that eventually you'll be like, all right, the other metrics are, a
Comments.
Combination of other things or, saves and shares, whatever.
Yeah.
And it's just like, well, that's what then you'll predicate. I'm not hooked to it. I think Instagram, it's a weird one because actually I find this in LinkedIn that a lot of people don't engage with your post, but the views are like super high. Like,
And then they view your profile.
and then
well.
you view your profile and you see that spiking, and so it's not the
Little
total
lurkers on
picture.
LinkedIn.
Yeah, there's little watchers. Yeah, but I think I think sometimes as well with LinkedIn, I don't really want to get into an intellectual battle with someone.
Can't be bothered.
No, it's like it's just more admin, and
Yeah.
for what end? What you were right, they're not going to agree with you. So so I tend to maybe just like something or write something positive, and I don't get into, I don't think you're right or that's a bad strategy or what you see. It's just who cares?
I think
So a lot of people do that though.
I really like it when you get likes from, when you, like, for example, when you like my post, I'm like, oh yeah, that's nice, Mark's
Yeah.
seen that. And I think rather than looking at the overall count of my likes, I'm more concerned with, like, oh, that's good that person's seen that post, or I will give you a like back, for example, and
Yeah.
you're sort of supporting your community.
Your network, yeah.
I think that's still going to be an important part of likes, personally. I do think there's been a bit of
But it's not gone yet from the UK, has it?
yeah,
Likes
they're
are?
rolling it out.
Or they're rolling it out, yeah, because I can still see my likes on
well,
Insta, I think.
I think this is the biggest misconception about this whole no more likes story.
Yeah.
From all the businesses I'm talking to, there seems to be a thought that this means they're completely being removed from the platform. This is not true.
Yeah.
Instagram have simply removed the count. So underneath your post,
Oh, so it's just saying, but then mine says link, so for example, liked by Avocado Social and 5 others.
Oh, so
I've still got 5
the
others.
count.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll show you mine in a minute. But
Ah,
mine have gone. It just says and others.
right.
So you can still, as a business,
You can-
click on that
yeah.
and it gives you the number.
Right.
So it's mainly, it's personal users that can't get the number.
Right.
If you're a business, you still have access to this data.
Yeah.
And I think that's this huge, when it happened, when it started rolling out in the UK a few weeks ago, I had so many messages being like, what are we going to do now? How are we going to measure our success? And I said, no, the count is still there.
Okay.
It's just hidden, which I quite like, because then it means no one else can see which
Yeah.
of your posts did well and which ones
Yeah,
didn't.
yeah.
But I think there's also been a bit of a rumour going around that Instagram made this decision to really push people towards advertising more,
Right.
which they've actually come out and denied. They said they did it to kind of
Mental
stop
health
younger
and-
people from obsessing over
Yeah,
like counts, essentially. The only thing I'd say, which is slightly annoying about it, is it makes identifying influencers a little trickier.
Yeah.
Because if you're looking at influencers to work with, you'd probably look at how many followers they've got. Then you'd probably look at how many likes each photo
Yeah.
gets, which you can't see. However, a couple of weeks ago, Facebook have just announced they're going to be rolling out a brand new tool for influencer collaborations, which will be a dashboard,
Okay.
which you'll be able to use. Not sure if it will be paid for yet. Who knows?
Probably.
And that will give you like counts
Okay.
of influencers.
Yeah.
So that's one way of doing it. Or you could always just DM an influencer and say, what are your average likes on your posts? I think if you were paying for a post, certainly the influencer should give you that information anyway.
Yeah.
So yeah, something to think about.
Mhm.
And that again leads me on very nicely to the next trend, which is a rise in other metrics.
Okay.
I think you mentioned there, Mark, that we'll probably just start looking at some of the other activity like save, shares. I think replying to a story with a DM is going to be a big one.
Right, it started to happen, and I've got a few regulars, which is nice. I've got a few people
Do they
that
send you that little emoji?
well, they just send you a comment on it, or and they're not even doing it. They're just doing it to be nice. Like there's no clinical thing that they're doing. But I think what were we talking about? We were doing a boot camp last year, and I think I was talking about craving saves. I quite like that sort of thought where sort of crave saves and what's the other shares.
Saves and shares.
Saves and shares.
I think are a big one. I mean, people overlook those because actually, if you think about how engaging your content must be, if someone was to save it in their private collection or send it to a friend in a DM, I think that's more important than a like.
Definitely huge.
And if you want to view that data, if you haven't discovered it yet, you can just click view insights on every single post and just see how well each has performed. I remember last year I did a video just on my Instagram grid, and it got an average amount of likes, not loads, and didn't get any comments, but it got around 80 shares.
Right.
So 80 people shared it.
That's a lot.
With someone in their community, which was huge. I couldn't believe it. So definitely start to look at those other metrics. The next one for us, trend number, where are we? 9. Is social media shopping. So I know you and I have talked about this one quite a lot because we've sort of said, well, isn't there really an opportunity there to get more sort of in an Instagram shop than what brands are currently selling? Obviously, fashion brands or sort of homeware brands are really on top of this, but I think food and beverage, there is an opportunity there to get some of your products up into Instagram shopping, especially because the sort of research is saying that there are currently 8.4 million British consumers shopping via social media. Okay.
It's quite interesting though. And I definitely sympathise with the operators out there for restaurants, let's say, maybe rather than wider food and drink. But it's a bit like, what do you sell in terms of it's a meal or a hot meal in front of you, and unless they've got something that's productised. So one step back would be shopping to book, definitely. But then the trouble is they've probably got a contract with someone, and I think it might only be OpenTable that goes through.
Yeah, so OpenTable at the moment is the only booking app which kind of ties up nicely with Instagram. Eventbrite as well, if you're ever doing kind of big events. But shopping wise, if you have got products that you're selling through your website, a recipe book, we talked about things like ingredients, pots and pans, whatever it is, that product-based stuff.
There's so few have got that. And I think, but then the next conversation is they need to get that, And when I was out in Kiev last year speaking at a thing, and that's what I was talking about, and I was saying one Italian brand basically had the balsamic vinegar and the olive oil, and they put it up on Instagram and they're like, buy it on our website. Oh no, it wasn't even, I don't even know if it was buy it on our website. I think it was just buy it in restaurant. And I was like, get an Amazon shop, get it on your website,
put it on
Facebook, and but I think gift vouchers was a really easy one, wasn't it? You could do gift vouchers.
I need to check whether that's allowed. We did spot that coffee shop called Alfred doing it in LA. They did put gift vouchers up on Instagram shopping. Essentially, as long as you have Shopify, maybe a commerce platform like WooCommerce, Magento, or if you simply upload items into the back end of Facebook Ads Manager, into what's called a product catalogue, which is free to do, you can sell.
You can do it there.
So definitely something to explore, and I just think we're going to see more and more innovation in the area. Instagram Checkout launched last year with a few influencers in the US, like Kim Kardashian, which basically means people can click on a post on Instagram, and buy something without leaving Instagram.
Yeah.
So that's going to become much more mainstream in 2020 as well.
Cool.
And then I'm quite excited on the shopping point around Facebook Pay.
Right.
I don't know if you've seen that yet.
Nope.
Launched in November. It's basically Apple Pay,
Right.
but for Facebook,
Uh-huh.
which means your credit card is going to be stored in Facebook, Facebook Messenger, Instagram, and WhatsApp.
Mm-hmm.
Which means right now, if you use Apple Pay, for example, you just double click.
Yeah.
There will be a simple function on your phone, a shortcut,
Yeah.
that will just bring up
Is
your
it
credit
launched in
card.
the UK?
It's rolling out.
Right.
I sound like a broken record. But it's going to be a game changer for shopping,
Yep.
fundraising, donate that to charity,
Yep.
event tickets, or person to person. So if we went out for dinner, Mark, and I owed you half the bill, double
Could
click.
just send it
there
through
you
Facebook.
Go. Yeah. So,
It's good, but it's dangerous.
yeah, it's really dangerous. Really dangerous.
Oh, just £2. That'll be alright. Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
times 100.
I think this is trend number 11 now, the next
Uh-huh.
one. Is that correct? Not sure.
I think so.
I think so.
I think so.
So, private spaces, dark
Right.
social,
Uh-huh.
which we've talked about before, haven't we?
We have.
For those of you that don't know what dark social is, it's those private spaces like groups, WhatsApp, chats,
Yep.
Facebook Messenger. There's new apps which
Mhm.
have come out in the last year, like Cocoon, which
Okay.
is a dedicated space, like a WhatsApp chat, for the most important people in your life. So it's kind of having,
That's
let's
interesting.
say, your family members in a separate app, so that if you wanted to chat with your family exclusively, you'd use something like Cocoon, which I believe has a lot of kind of safety and privacy measures in
Okay.
place. Quite an interesting one.
Check
to
that
look
one
at.
out.
But We Are Social, one of the
Mm.
biggest social media agencies in London and around the world, said by retreating into more private spaces, people are more liberated to be themselves and to connect more naturally. This is the new
Is
social.
that more bitching? Did you see what she was wearing?
Yeah, exactly. It's the new social,
Yeah.
apparently, in public, but with boundaries.
Well, we had you put up a really good stat on one of the boot camps we did, and I think was it not 82?
80%.
80%
Yeah.
of
80
people are using dark of social
Social
is dark
media.
social.
Exactly. Like if you think
Crazy.
about how much social media you use every day, how much of that is in DM,
It's a
WhatsApp,
lot. Yeah.
Facebook Messenger, Facebook groups?
Yep.
A huge amount.
It's the only way me and Mrs. Mark communicate like during the day.
Same with me and Mr.
Don't phone each
Avocado.
other, man. Just like
Yeah. It's crazy how much. And actually, WhatsApp is the number one app I check in the morning. I check
I
throughout
don't.
the day.
Interesting. We don't use WhatsApp. We use Facebook Messenger. Yeah.
Actually, do you remember a couple of years ago, and I was trying to get you onto WhatsApp?
Yeah, that's
and
right,
you were
yeah.
very like.
It's like,
not
well, I just was
sure.
like, I don't need more admin in
Yeah.
my life. I don't need another inbox.
And then
but
it was the dads.
I use it
group
all
that
the
got you
time.
in
It's the
there.
dads, yeah. Post like dads, yeah. That's it.
So yeah, private spaces, the tricky thing for marketers,
Mm.
hard to track, hard to reach, and
Mm.
hard to manipulate.
Yep.
So some interesting examples we've seen is, the Greg's example of having that WhatsApp group.
That was great.
We're seeing a few WhatsApp groups being promoted for sort of VIPs or even influencers as well.
I'm pushing people to make it their loyalty program.
Yeah,
You
I
know,
think that's really
push
clever.
people to that. But then broadcasts have just stopped, haven't they?
I'm not sure because I'm still receiving broadcasts from a couple of people. So I need to look into that.
Yeah. That's a good
More
point.
from honest.
Well, before I keep recommending it to people, I probably need to go.
I think we're going to see more brands create these private spaces. So one of my favourite examples, although their Christmas ad didn't go down so well, is Peloton, the sort of spinning equipment.
I think, in all fairness to them, I don't think that really was the message. Because, like, I know how, like, into fitness Mrs. Mac is, and it's just like, she would really want that. Do you know?
Yeah,
It's not a
I
slight.
almost wonder
I didn't think
if
it was a
they'd filmed
slight.
it the other way around as well and released both adverts. So the woman's buying
Yeah,
the man one
yeah,
as
yeah,
well.
yeah.
I think that would have been absolutely fine.
Sort of fine.
Interesting.
Yeah. But then,
Peloton has a Facebook group,
Mm-hmm.
huge
Yeah.
in the UK. I think 45,000 members. I'm not quite sure on that stat. I think that's the stat.
Such a status thing as well. It's like the Tesla
Yeah.
of bikes, isn't it?
Yeah,
And
exactly.
I've got $3,000. That's basically what it says, isn't it?
It is, isn't it? It's, I mean,
$3,000
so
clothes horse.
expensive. What they do is in the group, they get people sort of sharing, how much spinning have you done today?
Yeah.
But also they'll test new products with them.
Oh shit,
They'll
are we
do
going to get those
freebies.
updates from people?
Probably.
Bore off.
Yeah.
At least it's good if they make a funny shape when they've been out running. But like, it's just like, been on my
yeah.
bike today, great.
I wonder whether we're going to see some food and drink brands creating these private spaces a little bit more in 2020. I personally think it would go down really well with hotels, like VIP kind of loyal members schemes.
Yeah.
I, for one, would definitely want to be part of a couple of travel brands, private kind of offers, and I think the key here is what could you offer people to be part of this exclusive select group.
I think there's also strength of brand. Because there's a lot of brands out there you would kill to be part of, Wagamama, Pretz and all the rest of the world, and some of them you'd be like, not really that fussed, but I think strength of brand still counts. For sure.
Absolutely, yeah.
But I think that's a great idea.
Okay, so the next trend is local community targeting. So you and I again have talked about this one quite a lot. I think more so than ever, personalisation and relevance to a very local market is going to be so important to standing out in social media. So I would say, just as a simple quick win, rather than just running an ad across the UK to promote all of your restaurants, choose an ad with a picture of your local restaurant or the high street, or it says the name of the location in the ad, just to make it so relevant to the local people.
It's such a big deal, especially if you're even an international brand and you can see that lamppost is not UK, or that truck or that train thing. And it's just, you get that a lot with sneaker advertising or sportswear and things like that, and they just obviously do a global shoot in Brazil or whatever, and you're like, it doesn't really look like Darlington, does it?
Language as well. I mean, would you call it sneakers or trainers? Would you use a $sign or a pound sign? All of that, maybe if you were doing some Scottish adverts, you could use some of the
violence.
I was going to say lingo.
Yeah, okay. Well, even that's hard, and that's why local would work, because Glasgow speaks slightly differently than Edinburgh, like in terms of words and slang and things. It's different.
And also, if you were doing like a video of an employee being like, "Hey, welcome to a new Glasgow restaurant," if you got a local employee to do that,
don't do it with an English accent.
Don't do it in sort of
just slightly
just
casually racist, in Scotland. But it is just that, for the English, because you notice it when you go there, like even your Morrison's bags have got a Scottish flag on them. Like even the sun's called the Scottish Sun. It's a big deal. That sort of stuff. So it'll go down.
Definitely.
That'll go down well as long as you don't screw it up.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we just ran a campaign at Avocado Social for our client Pizza Union. They've just launched their new Hoxton site, which is just off Old Street Roundabout, and we essentially created a local influencer campaign. So we outreach to local influencers, local businesses, local hotels, the local hospital, and we sent them an offer, and the offer was to come in and get a free pizza in return for an Instagram story.
Brilliant.
And we got a huge amount of buzz. And the great thing is we had people messaging Pizza Union on Instagram saying, how do I get free pizza?
Yeah.
So, and of course,
have more than 8 followers, mate.
But we were, of course, sort of spreading the message. But the key thing was we went to the influencers first, rather than putting this huge offer on the Instagram grid. We outreached it and let it grow organically and naturally. Which I think worked really well and sort of rewarded people almost for being local and also for coming in and creating content.
Cool.
Okay, so the next trend, which is number
13 maybe, are we?
I think
Something like that.
115.
Right, okay.
Because we skipped.
We skipped a few.
I did a few earlier than I was going to.
Okay.
So yeah, number 15, I think. Unique shareable content.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know about you, Mark, but I'm seeing like organic engagement on Avocado Social is becoming seriously hard to get likes, comments, shares, saves. It's absolutely still possible, but you've got to work a bit harder.
Yeah.
People don't just want to see a sale post or a promotion. They actually want to see something that's unique and it's something that they could share. So we've seen a rise in memes, posting fun, light-hearted content. Do you remember the world record egg last year?
Yep.
Most likes on Instagram. We're seeing a lot of this sort of content from people like Greg's and Innocent, which is humorous content that, I hate the word going viral, but it does sort of spread like wildfire. And also it's more honest content as well that can do very well.
Yeah.
So we remember the Hawksmoor example from last year. So
Did a super job. Will's coming on the podcast soon, I think.
amazing.
Yeah.
So
Cool.
I mean, that's another trend in itself, being more honest and transparent with your audience.
Yeah, I think there's something like that which is in one social media platform that then goes offline. Like eventually ended up BBC News and all that.
Yeah.
And then last night, and I'm slightly too scared to watch it potentially, is the new Dracula thing on BBC. So they did an amazing poster offline, and it's now went viral online, showing the video of it. There's a time lapse, so basically when the sun goes down, so there's a white poster with loads of stakes in it, as if, you know, it's been stabbed like loads of times, and there's a light on the left hand side as you look at it, shines, and it actually then the shadow cast is Dracula screaming.
Oh wow.
So I love it when that sort of stuff happens. So whether it's on social or online goes the other way.
Yeah.
And then because I think one of the classics years ago was Anne Summers bought really big poster on, is it Cromwell Road? Is that where the British Museum and the Natural History Museum is?
Oh yes.
Well, there's a big poster site there.
Yeah.
And they put, obviously about one of their toys, a rabbit's not just for Christmas. And like, it just was up for like a couple of days or whatever, and everyone felt like they'd seen it.
Amazing.
And it got shared. This was pre, you know, like proper social and all the rest of it. So it's really neat when that happens, I think, you know, with just by doing great creative work or being authentic and honest, or you've just got a good shot of it going viral, but there's no recipe for it. I mean, it's a very hard thing to do.
It is a hard thing to do, and actually if you really kind of look into the Hawksmoor stuff, there's, you know, questions like, was it a slow news day? Is that why it got on BBC News? Would it have if there was something major going on? You know, is it the fact that it was them really owning up to the mistake, or was it more the fact of the price of the bottle of wine that got given away for free? You know, there's so many questions you could begin.
I think if it was a £100 bottle of wine, it just wouldn't matter. I think it was just like, you know, one of those almost Del Boy stories that, you know, you've sort of given away an antique or something, you know.
Yeah.
But it worked out really well. There was a few thoughts of, was it engineered? But knowing the brand, I mean, I don't know the guys so well, but, you know, knowing the brand, it's almost like, why would you do that? It's like being on $100,000 a year and nicking 20 quid out the till. It just doesn't make sense.
No,
like,
I think it was
it's for real.
an honest
mistake.
Yeah,
definitely.
But yeah, if there are things like that going on, I do think have a think about, is that actually worth sharing and being quite honest about?
Yeah. Just stuff that goes wrong.
Exactly.
We screwed up today.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mean, it's really interesting, especially when business founders and CEOs share, this actually went wrong. You know, it didn't work for us, and this is why, and it was a big mistake, and this is what we've learned from it.
Yeah.
So the next trend is social self-care.
Right.
So I don't know whether you're kind of
sounds good. Looking
at how long you're spending online at the moment, Mark.
Yeah, less looking at that now. I just kind of sort of, I think I've just come to terms with the fact that it is my job, and I need to be socially switched on for me to the job that I do. So it just comes with the territory.
Yeah.
I can, but then if I was an old granny sitting in the house and just looking at it all the time and just doing it to then that's becoming like
That's
kind of.
more
I can't
worrying.
say I'm not addicted, but I'm learning things and I'm doing it. I'm doing it most of the time for work purposes. I've really came away from being social and social. Like I'm genuinely just doing it for work pretty much. And
Yeah.
I've also got other things to think about. Is do I switch my personal thing on Facebook to just being more of a personal brand thing and I just screw it, or
Yeah.
and just, I don't mean like forget my mates or anything, but it's just a bit like I hardly post on Facebook now, and so there's all that. The other thing I've done for social self-care in a different meaning, I've unfollowed an awful lot of people
Oh, that's a huge trend.
and
Actually,
muted
I
so
don't know
many.
whether you've got it yet on
What is it?
Instagram. If you hit on Instagram, this is a brand new
I've got
thing.
airplane on, but
come
yeah.
come out in the last couple of weeks. If you hit your following number
Uh-huh.
on Instagram, so I'm just demonstrating for the purposes of
Yes.
the podcast. So if you hit who you're following, Instagram is bringing out a new option called categories,
Yeah.
which means you can quickly unfollow people that you've least interacted with, or you could quickly unfollow people who are most showing up in your newsfeed.
Yeah.
Or there's a few different things that you can do. You could go to different categories like fitness or art or decor and unfollow. So Instagram's making it easier
to do that.
to unfollow people. Which
It is. It's just quite funny. The thing is though, I've sort of screwed up sometimes where I've unfollowed people, and you know, Pamela's saying, like my wife's going, did you know so and so's just got engaged? And you're like, no.
Okay,
So
should have been following
yeah, should have been
it.
following for that. But yeah, I just think
I thought you were going to say then you have to do that really embarrassing thing of re-following them. And
no,
and then
I'm
they're like,
mainly
wasn't he
muting.
following me?
No, I'm mainly muting. Really, it's just there's a groundswell of stuff that I just I don't know.
do a lot
I think as I'm getting
snoozing
older.
on Facebook, snooze for 30 days.
Oh yeah, well, I do that on
See.
WhatsApp. You know, sometimes you wake up and there's like 37 things from like the dad's group, and it's like, oh
guys.
yeah. Just I'm not involved, and I'm not going out for a beer tonight, so I'll just leave that.
I
So,
mean,
yeah.
all of those things you picked up on are huge trends. So users are going to be more intentional about their screen use. So
Yep.
for myself personally, I find that if I've spent a lot of time online during the week, if I just take a Sunday where I just pop my phone in my office, turn it off,
Yeah.
and just spend the day offline, I feel revived again.
Yeah.
It's quite a strange feeling. So I definitely recommend giving that a go. I've seen quite a lot of influencers saying, particularly those with young families, they're not going online after 7 p.m. or 8 p.m,
Right.
just turning the phone off, and that's sort of their evening.
It's alright if you finish your job at that time.
Yeah, exactly. There's a bit of a trend which I think's maybe a little extreme if you work in social media like us, but it's called offline 48, where you turn your phone off on a Friday night and turn it on a Monday morning.
A disaster for me. Like just genuinely, like, there's a lot of people just say, I don't understand why you can't just, and it's like, look, when you've got your own business, you know, the thing I think a lot of people like about working with us is we get back to people pretty sharpish.
Yeah.
And agencies mainly have a bad name where people feel like they're paying money and they get the SLA thrown in their face with, oh, we're off at weekends, oh, you know, it's 2 days before we can respond, or oh, we're too busy and there's these other priorities, or clients just hate that. So I'd need to, if I had a normal job, maybe.
Yeah, that's it. I think I
If
agree
I worked
with you.
for
Like, if you
the man,
don't
the
work
woman,
in
yeah.
marketing or online or run your own business,
Yeah.
these things are slightly different. But then perhaps from our point of view, we need to be thinking about the average consumer. When are they going to be online?
Yep.
I think.
But then weirdly, a lot of people have stated that it's after 8 o'clock, that it is quite
That
busy.
it's-
So it's
yeah.
it's a lot of
It's
conflicting
true.
stuff, isn't it?
Yeah.
But then that's only a certain segment you're talking about. So yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it is. I mean, it's nothing for anyone to worry about. This kind of being more mindful of your screen time. I don't think we're suddenly going to see people not using social media at all. But what we will see is people looking for brand content, brands to follow, which is more valuable and meaningful rather than just promotional.
Yeah.
So why would I follow Wagamama? Why would I follow Nando's? You know, are they giving me content that is fun,
Yeah.
It's valuable and it's meaningful to me, and I enjoy it.
Great takeover by Wagamama
Yes,
yesterday.
I saw that on your
The
feed.
watermelon-based tuna, just so vibrant and exciting, and I don't know, they're just absolutely killing it at the moment.
Yeah,
They're doing
I
so
love
well.
I love it when Wagamama comes up
Yeah.
on my feed. I always like the shots that they do.
Brilliant. Doing so well.
But I, like you, have done a bit of a mass unfollow recently,
Yeah.
and just got rid of anyone that's, you know, not providing great content.
Yeah.
Or people that don't really update enough. You know, people that have sort of old content as their last post.
Mm.
Vodafone ran a campaign around Father's Day last year called the Screen Free Father's Day,
Okay.
where they were sort of encouraging dads to put their phone down for the day and spend the day with the kids. That could be an angle from
That's
the
not a good
campaign.
Father's Day. Father's Day, you want to be yourself, don't you? You just want time alone with your phone.
Yeah.
A
On the
long
toilet.
scroll. Yeah, that's it, yeah.
But I don't know, maybe we'll see this kind of trend to people not necessarily wanting to be cut off, but just wanting a better relationship with their phones.
Yeah,
for
no,
example.
I agree with that. I think also, like, just I got an iPad the other day just about Christmas, around Christmas time, and I've been finding that quite good. I seem to put that down.
Is it because it's really heavy?
I don't know. I just seem to either watch something, I think it's better for your eyes, it's bigger,
Yeah.
you know, that kind of stuff, and I seem to be using my phone a bit less, but I'm using that for something more meaningful, which is watching
You're
a
doing
film,
something,
or
yeah.
and then, but I'm
You're
always
not just scrolling.
well, I'm bad for, I like having both on. Like, I like watching something, but also having, so if I was watching a film on my phone, I'd stop, like I stopped The Irishman umpteen times to just go and check nothing had happened on social, and
Yeah.
not very healthy. But anyway, so there we go.
I think two things just to watch out for when you're doing that, which I find quite funny. When I've been scrolling a lot, I get a dent in my thumb.
Oh,
Because I have the iPhone 7, which is Plus, which
Yeah.
is quite large. So I use a pop socket now, which is that
thing on the back.
thing on the back.
Yeah.
Because I noticed I was
With your rude image.
noticed I was getting a thumb dent. But the other one is tech neck.
Well,
Yeah,
that's why every 2 weeks I'm at the physio.
Yeah.
So
So
I've
there's
got-
some exercises you can do.
Yeah.
Which is basically looks like you're sort of grooving out to
Oh,
a
right,
music
okay.
track. That's meant to be very good for tech neck.
Oh, okay.
Or just moving
So
your
it's
neck
sort,
in
what would you say
circles.
that's like for radio? What's that? It's like a chicken, isn't
Yeah,
it?
do
Like
the
a
chicken
turkey.
impression, basically.
Yeah, with your neck. Yeah,
It's
yeah.
really good
forward
for
and back,
tech
forward and
neck.
back. Yeah. No, it's gonna be bad, and I think as we evolve as generations, it could be quite a
That's
interesting
just
thing to look
reminded me
at.
of something I haven't thought of for a long time. But when I used to work in large advertising agencies, they used to hire masseuses to come around and just give everyone a quick
Yeah.
shoulder rub.
Should we go on?
Because everybody was sort of there, 12 hours a
Yeah.
day, just on the computer with their shoulders up.
Bad.
So yeah, look after your staff, people.
Look after yourself as well.
Yeah. So the next trend, coming into the sort of final few now, higher adoption of AR, augmented reality.
Yes.
So for those of you that aren't quite sure, augmented reality enhances our reality by adding digital elements to it and changing the way things actually look. So it's not virtual reality where you go into a completely different world.
Yep.
It's seeing present day and what's actually going on, but with additional things.
Yeah.
So basically Pokemon,
Yeah.
Pokemon Go.
Pokemon Go. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think what would be interesting is, if you can shine that phone. There was some stuff with Stella a while ago, and it told you, if you shone your phone, it would say there's a pub 1.3 miles that way that's
Yeah.
got Stella on, or whatever the brand was. I think it was Stella. But that would be so good, is that you could shine it and go, where's Wagamama, or where's Pret, or where's Co,
where's
or
the nearest crap?
all that, or just sushi near me, and it actually took you into that AR world. That would be quite good, I think.
I read about a food brand, and I'm trying to remember who it is now, who had just done this with, we've seen a few people do this with their labels. It could have been like Old El Paso or something.
Right.
You just shine your phone over the
Yeah.
label, and then the recipe comes up on your screen.
That
and
tech
there's a video.
step's been interesting, because we've had quite a few brands. We worked with a wine brand there, and they were wanting to do the same with wines, and it feels like it's like almost that Betamax step that just hasn't quite happened yet.
Yeah, the kind of QR code.
Yeah.
Like ugly QR on a label.
Yeah,
No.
but it might come when it's more seamless, or
Yeah.
I think voice might play a part in that. You know, whereas if it actually spoke the tasting notes to you, maybe rather than having to watch a screen, or could be interesting to see how that works. You know,
I
definitely.
think kind of the biggest AR trend we've seen is filters.
Mm.
You know, all of these filters
Yeah.
that you can, turn yourself into a taco or a burger, or put unicorn sort of designs on your face.
Yeah.
And so AR filters, which are inbuilt into Snapchat and now Instagram as well, they've been sort of the biggest adoption of AR with
Yeah.
kind of mass public.
Could that be the future of beauty, that you don't get plastic surgery, but you've got some kind of real life projection filter over your
you
face?
walk around with a projector.
Maybe.
I love it.
Because it's slightly touched on it in Years and Years, that amazing programme that's on BBC, and
I love
they
that.
she actually wore a sort of mask thing. But I wonder, like, if you'd be able to alter the perception of, you could alter the perception of your partner.
Oh, that would be creepy.
Brad
yeah.
Pitt face mask.
Imagine if it ran out of batteries one day and you suddenly saw
Oh yeah,
real.
just this this
Yeah.
haggard old man. Yeah.
There was a really interesting example actually, the year before last now, of makeup brand Charlotte Tilbury,
Mm-hmm.
who had this sort of AR mirror in their shop in Westfield, where there was sort of, I think, 10 makeup looks.
Yeah.
You just sat in front of the mirror, tapped on the look you wanted, and it just applied it to
Done
your
it,
face.
yeah,
And then
yeah.
if you like that look, you go and buy the product.
I'm just thinking about the Simpsons episode with the makeup shotgun.
Oh, I haven't seen that
Oh,
one.
Homer like invents this makeup shotgun and he shoots Marge in the face with it, and she's just got all this makeup all over her face. It's quite amazing.
But yeah, I mean, the trend has, if you think about brands like McDonald's, Disney, Mercedes-Benz, Starbucks, they've all used AR filters.
Mm-hmm.
And now there is, in Snapchat, the launch of Spark AR, which has even propelled more filters because people are just developing more and more of their own
Yeah.
filters. In Instagram, we've seen a lot of new AR filters come on, not just for your face, but also filters
Yeah.
that you can film in. And they've kind of made this an open platform, so people can create their own filters and upload them into Instagram as well, which I think is really pushing that kind of creative aspect of Instagram.
Yeah.
And so I think we're just going to see more and more brands come up with clever ways of using AR for social content to go viral, essentially. I always really like, I mean, it's quite a simple one, but I love the Disney example where you can only get Mickey Mouse or Minnie Mouse ears if you're geolocated at Disney
Is
at
that
the
right?
time. So
Okay.
they've done that via Snapchat geofilters. So with Snapchat geofilters, they only appear if you're in a certain
Right.
space. So Disney have sort of mapped out where all of their theme parks are, and it's sort of that kudos, like, I've got the Minnie Mouse ears on because I'm at Disney.
Because I'm there.
You can't get them anywhere else.
Yeah.
So,
And people would probably book just to get that as
yeah,
part of
it's
the
that
reason.
FOMO, isn't
Yeah,
it,
yeah.
again? So yeah, I think we're going to see some really interesting ways of using AR for fun, but also things like to provide better shopping experiences, or even to kind of show off an experience of a restaurant or a hotel, for example. So keep your eye out for that one.
That would be amazing, yeah. Just sit in your living room and you could change it into the hotel room that you're going to be staying at, and you can see
Yeah, just
everything
have a
there.
little walk
And
around,
Yeah,
check out the
yeah.
bathroom, that kind of thing. I
That'd
think
be
we'll see
great.
a lot more of.
God, what that could do for home interiors as well. You could just change your wallpaper.
Dulux have a really good app where you take a picture of your wall
Uh-huh.
and then you choose the colour of paint and it just does it
Shows
for you.
it.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Wow.
Love it.
Cool, that's cool.
So the next one is sort of changing things up slightly. We've got 3 more trends to go.
Mm.
Customer service.
Yeah.
So, question for you, Mark.
Mm-hmm.
If you messaged a brand with a complaint,
Mm-hmm.
what kind of time period
Yeah.
would you expect a response?
I've got zero patience. So it happened over Christmas with Yodel. So
Okay.
Yodel were delivering something for the wee one, and it was meant to come on Tuesday, which was just before, it was New Year's Eve, and it was meant to come between 3 and 5. I got the note, we've tried to deliver this, and obviously no one rang the doorbell. There's no note, there's no nothing. And yeah, so basically I got on to, I had it in Always. I was on the phone on hold. I was on the website doing web chat. I gave them a message through the app, and I was on Twitter doing, just a not a message, just a thing. Yeah, but I did it in the way that, only if you were following me and Yodel, you would have seen it, sort of thing.
Yeah.
And it took them until yesterday morning to basically say, "Oh, apologies, hope it all worked out," kind of thing.
What?
Yeah,
That's
it
not
was
good.
like,
Not good.
So yeah, it was bad, and the driver obviously just ditched it. So
Yeah,
I think it's under half an hour for sure, and it's probably under 10 minutes really.
Well, 37% of consumers who use social media to complain or question brands expect to get a response in under 30 minutes.
Yeah.
So you're quite right there. I mean, I remember a few years ago when it was 24 hours, and then I remember when it was 12 hours, and now it's half an hour.
Yeah, people should be, sort of teamed up for that for sure.
Yeah, I mean, it's not hard to set up notifications on your phone or to get an email every time you get a tweet, or with tools like Sprout Social.
Yeah.
You can just keep on top of that dashboard, and you can assign different questions to different team members as well. Obviously, Sprout Social comes at a cost, so it depends on your budget.
Mm-hmm.
But I think going into 2020, customers now expect a 5-star customer service.
Yeah.
I think it's got to be personalised, so you've got to, respond to people with their first name. You've got to be empathetic and apologise, really quickly, even if you can see that it's not necessarily your fault. And also set that process for checking your brand inquiries and dealing with them in a really efficient manner.
Mm-hmm.
I think if you get a customer service inquiry and that's going to require you going back and chatting to some members of your team and finding out the answer and then getting back to the customer, just drop them a message saying, so sorry to hear about this, we're going to investigate and we'll get back to you as soon as possible.
Yeah.
There's a lot of auto response tools you can use now.
Mm-hmm.
So I noticed the other day that if you use Facebook Instant Replies, which is a tool which lives in your Facebook page in the messaging settings, you can switch on an instant reply on Facebook and Instagram.
Okay.
So if someone messages your page or your Instagram profile, you can send an auto message back.
Yep.
And that could be that buffer being like, thanks for your message, we're going to get back to you within the next couple of hours.
It's
or
just
before
good
the end of the day.
customer service, put someone in a holding pattern, make them feel valued, and sort of go that way. I think that's the way to do it.
Yeah,
and then figure it out.
Definitely. I've been in that situation as well where I've, messaged a restaurant and said, interested in coming for Mother's Day lunch or whatever. And you don't hear anything back. So what do? You start looking at other places, alternatives. Whereas if you had that message back straight away, oh yeah, of course, we're just still working on the menu, we'll get it over to you in the next couple of days. Okay, brilliant. I'll
hang
go
off.
there. Yeah. So I think just really thinking about your customer service process and really streamlining it for 2020 is such an easy win.
Yeah, definitely. I'm just conscious of us maybe getting kicked out at some point as well. So,
We've got 3 more trends to go.
We'll do them quick fire.
I think the one that's probably most important is greater understanding of ads placements. So what this means is where your ads go.
Yeah.
If you're using Facebook Ads Manager or Boosted Posts, your ads will show across Facebook newsfeed, Instagram feed. You could put them in stories, you could put them in Messenger, and soon you'll be able to put them in WhatsApp as well. So when you're selecting your placements, I think you need to be really choosy about where makes most sense for somebody to see that ad.
Yeah.
And that's probably another of those kind of mistakes I see. Someone's taken a post and shoved it in a story as well as in a newsfeed, and it looks awful in a story.
Yeah.
So I think we're going to see more choice in places of where to advertise, and brands being more selective over where their ads are going.
Yeah.
And then the last 2 are sort of, I'd say, less important for marketers, but more general of our use of social media. Less fake news.
Yeah.
So I do think, fake news became such a buzzword in sort of 2016 and going into 2017. And unfortunately, it is still rife. but brands will be more conscious over sources which they share, and more fact checking is going to be taking place.
Definitely.
I think we're going to see more people questioning whether something is real.
Yeah.
And also a renewed interest in sort of more premium media outlets, like people will be following, you know, Bloomberg and FT, and rather than the sort of random topnewstoday.com.
Yeah.
And then the other one is political ads. So Twitter recently won a claim for taking a stand and announcing that they're no longer going to be hosting political ads on the platform. I think that's really important for 2020. Whereas Facebook, they haven't said anything yet.
Yeah.
They're looking into their policies, but I'd highly doubt if they took the same
They're going to do that.
So I think that's just something to be aware of, whether you know, whether these platforms are going to continue to have that kind of political aspect to it. Just on an interesting point there, anecdotally, quite a few people have said to me, you know, we've really seen a lot less engagement on our Twitter account over the last couple of years, brand-wise. And they think that's down to Brexit and the focus on politics on Twitter.
Yeah.
So will the stand by Twitter not to run any political ads, would that curb
Bring
some
people
of the
back,
discussion around politics? Probably not, but maybe something to look out for.
I think it's quite interesting, like Twitter just isn't seen as a good promotional platform by most, and I think it is using it for its main use, and you know, I've really bought into the fact that it is mainly news and events.
Yeah,
you know,
I mean,
is what it's about.
That's it. We talked about Greggs like pretty early on when we saw each other this morning, and that's how I found out that they were doing a steak bake, because it was trending on Twitter yesterday. So I still absolutely look at the trends.
Yeah.
So I think if you've got something newsworthy, that needs to go on Twitter. But if it's just kind of standard promotional
we've got
stuff,
a £3.50 pint promotion, whatever, it's just like
exactly.
But also, we were talking about Chessington, who were trending yesterday. I was thinking, I'm just back from Chessington, so I was thinking, why is this trending? And then it was simple as a competition, and lots of people got involved. There was what did it say?
Some
what was
rude
it?
Entries.
Yeah, there was tell us a reason why, you know, whatever. And some of it was, you know, their kids looked all cute, and you know, and then there was some sob stories, and there was different things, and then there was some animal genitalia, which was fun. So I didn't really need to see that last night as I was going to bed, but I just like So someone might be feeling upset about it, but it probably, I mean, to get it trending, and more than half was actually good stuff.
Yeah, exactly. And also, I
right.
think, you know, there's so many trends you could tap into. Veganuary, Hogmanay, Burns Night, what else happens in January? Blue Monday,
all the sober stuff.
Yeah.
You know, all the rest of it.
Oh no, that's Stoptober.
Yeah.
Just Dry January.
Yeah, so there's all that stuff. That's another thing I'd like to see less of, and I'm a charitable person, but the amount of people asking for money at the moment is just insane. There's a lot too much going on, which is, I'm going a bike ride somewhere, it just seems rife at the moment.
Really?
You know,
I don't see that much of it.
God.
Maybe
I'm not doing Christmas cards, therefore for my birthday give me a donation. It's like, I didn't give you a present anyway, so I'm not giving you a donation. So there's just a lot of that going on at the moment. So there's a lot of unfollowing going on with that stuff as well.
Not making the cut.
Yeah.
Interesting. It'd be interesting to see. I mean, so much opportunity in 2020 for social media. Who's going to come out the winners at the end of it? Who are the big brands we're going to sort of applaud this year? Yeah. That's what I'm always interested in.
Any predictions?
I think we're going to see some really interesting kind of shopping experiences from some of the retail brands who are maybe struggling a bit on the high street and are thinking of ways to really revolutionise. I always love seeing what brands like IKEA do. I think they do some really cool stuff. I think we'll see a lot of really interesting influencer content, particularly from sort of pop-ups, street food places. I mean, there's a great influencer I follow called Fresh Mike Eats.
Yes, that's the one I was thinking of in my head.
It's some amazing
He's
content.
got like the deconstructed matrix
that's like
sort
flying
of flying in the air.
Yeah.
I think that's really
so
cool.
I think we're going to see some really cool stuff from that. But I mean, it's hard to predict, but I think we're going to see some amazing sort of once in a lifetime competitions as well.
Yeah.
because I think that kind of stuff is really easy to do and can just fly as well.
Yeah.
So do you remember years ago there was that kind of win a job on a desert island?
Yeah.
And that just went viral.
Yeah,
I think we're going to see something a bit
few
like
of
that
those.
again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it just feels, there's a bit of, sort of uncertainty in the world and things like that. So I think any joy
Comfort.
comfort, joy,
Yeah.
nostalgia, things like that brands can give over, I think would make people really happy and get them through their working day.
Definitely, yeah. But I'm always reporting on the trends and making sure my community are up to date. So
Yes.
as you know, Mark, I run a Facebook group,
Yeah.
my own
Very
private
successful.
dark social,
Yeah.
which is called the Avocado Social Media Hub, which is free to join. You can find it on Facebook, and anything interesting, any nuggets, that's the first place I will post them.
And questions and all these things, and I've found it really helpful. And also on top of that, your blog stuff, we'll be doing training stuff, you'll be doing training stuff, we'll be doing boot camps, and I think there's also some e-learning stuff going out soon as well. So
And we'll be back in September for our annual Propel event.
yeah. And
So
watch this space for some others. See if we can get our
Exactly.
passports out. It'd be nice.
Yeah,
Go somewhere nice.
Yeah.
So
Cool.
well, thanks so much for
Thank you for having me.
that 20-ish
It was. I'm
list.
pretty sure it was 20.
And then we'll obviously get links up to all of the content and do some
course.
summaries and all that jazz. But thanks so much. I think we're going to go get some lunch.
Let's do it.
So maybe Fatomano or Wild Floor or one of
Yeah,
these.
that sounds great.
And so happy, healthy 2020. But brings you a lot of good luck. And I'll see you, no doubt, in the next couple of weeks.
You too, Mark. Thanks so much for having
Cool.
me.
Thanks.